Hi, this is Pete Holiday.
This is country artist Olivia Rose.
This is Cupid's Heart.
Hey, this is Shobsy.
My name's Matt Blaze.
And you are listening to Two Irish
Don't Make a Right
on CJSR 88.5 FM.
in Edmonton and around the world on CJSR.com.
Don't touch that dial.
I'm joined today by a talented musician, singer-songwriter, world record breaker, and of course, recently published author to boot, Dave Rooney from the mighty Black Donnellys. Joins me here. Two Irish Don't Make it Right. Dave, thank you so much for your time.
Very nice to be here, Alan. Thanks very much for having me. I really appreciate it.
I've been following your tale, An Irish Story, This Is My Home, the movie that's, is it streaming now on Netflix or?
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's anywhere from Peacock, Apple TV, Roku, Netflix if you live in Europe. It's Amazon Prime here in the States. It's pretty much everywhere. You'll find it easily. An Irish Story, This Is My Home.
I suppose there's many places we could start with you, but I think we'll take it to the most recent. Journey Through Anxiety, a Troubadour's Tale. Maybe we'll start with the inspiration for the book.
Okay, simply because I suffered anxiety for about 30 years in my early teens, right up until I was about 45, till I actually finally got a handle on it. Unfortunately, back in the 80s, there wasn't a whole lot available to you back then, and everything was kind of dealt with either a pill or, I think they were using Valium and Roach 5s and all that kind of stuff back then just to quell it down because they didn't understand it, simply because they didn't understand it. And obviously, like medicine has moved on since then, and here we are, 40 years later, and massive advancements, in medicine and so on. And so it's still, to my mind, it's still a problem because obviously, medications are helping a lot of people in this trait. Me, myself, I didn't go down that road because I just felt that medicine wasn't for me, or tablets or pills weren't for me. I had a grandmother who suffered Parkinson's disease, and she had an absolute cacophony of pills. You wouldn't believe the amount of pills that she take on a daily basis. And I used to look after her for a spell, in the daytimes when my old man went to go to work and so on. But so I just didn't like pills and stuff. So I felt like I could work through it myself, and was that the way to go? I don't know, but I can tell you this: I'm happy that I went that way because it meant that then I didn't have to depend on pills and so on, and because I know there's obviously side effects that go with all of that stuff as well. So yeah, it was a long road, Alan, a long road,
People from the outside looking in would say that you're quite successful. You got the movies, you got the gigs. You're a resident now, you got the residency, I should say, in Rera, Mandalay Bay. You got everything going for you guys. But it's interesting to me as a performer myself. Again, I get the anxiety. It's funny that we put ourselves through a gauntlet. Like, it's kind of a contradiction in terms.
Yeah, absolutely right. I did the book signing, and this was one of the questions. So well done, you. It's a funny one, and I tell you, the best way I can explain this to you is, first of all, the first answer I'd give you is I don't know. But the second, after thinking about it, I would say that having an outlet, because it's such an emotional, traumatic thing, having an outlet and being able to get things out of you. Now, I'm a singer-songwriter by definition, let's say. That's my trade, let's call it that,
Yeah.
I write about how I feel, and I write about life in general and relatable stuff so that people can, relate to it. To that end, going on stage and being in front of everyone, says, how can you play in front of 300 people a night? And you've got anxiety. I don't understand that. And I said, the simple reason is that it was actually an outlet, and I used that as an energy to actually expel that energy, because at the end of the day, it's overused energy, which is what anxiety is. It's an overload of energies, adrenaline that bring you to that place, that fight or flight mode. So yeah, and you're right. It is a contradiction in terms, because you wouldn't think like you wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah. I never suffered that side of it, which is insane. Yeah. It is actually it's hard to understand, because I was more triggered through emotionality than I was to the happiness and to the celebration of being on a stage and singing your songs. But having that outlet really worked for me, and it was part of the healing process, definitely. It's certainly something that you'll always have something to write about, because we are, in a sense, I'm not going to say, like, I'm not going to use the figure of tortured souls, but we are, in a sense, we are, because you do suffer for your art. And it's a hard road to go anyway, to try and make your way in the world, writing songs, because you're putting your heart out there for people to stand on, Yeah. So it's a courageous move, number one, absolutely. But what I would say in tandem to that is, we're not, and you'll get this being Irish as well, we're not expected, or we're not supposed to be, men are supposed to be seen as being stoic, and very, water off a duck's back, and we have to be shown to be strong, and we can't be seen to be vulnerable, because we feel, by definition, that's a form of weakness, and we don't want to be seen in that light. And this plays into the whole stigma, if you like, that's attached to this anxiety thing, because a lot of people don't talk about it, yet nearly everybody is suffering it. Nearly everybody I speak to today. Now, that might be a geopolitical statement. I live in the United States, obviously, and there's a whole movement of, something wrong with you, go to the doctor, get a pill for that, pill for this, pill for that. And that seems to be the culture, if you like, So I'm experiencing all this all around me, and because I'm a people person and I talk a lot to people and stuff, I'm just finding this out,
Preparing the release of the book, how from the inception to the creation to the release, and now it's finally out there. What has the reaction been like to it?
Right. Okay, so to start off, I've been a songwriter for ages, right? 20 years or so, or more, and I've been and I was involved in, I co-wrote a play a long time ago. So I've always been attached to story, Because of this, I've suffered this. I got to it when I was about 45. I'll explain to you what happened, how I got on top of all of this anxiety. And it was such a celebration for me to get to that stage. And I said to myself, you know what, I really would like to write about this, because I know how hard and how hopeless and how helpless people are with this, because it's a horrible affliction. It's one of them things that can actually, it can send you insane, it sends you mad. So to start writing the book in June of this year, I just went, okay, I'm going to do that. So I sat down right here in this seat where I'm talking to you, and I opened up a Word document, and I started to write. And I wanted to write about my journeys, where it started, first of all, and I'm from Dublin, Ireland, and I wanted to make it a kind of a storied adventure, and then have what was happening to me, how I experienced it, what the triggers were, what I did to try and fix it, and ultimately in the end, how I actually fixed it and quelled it down to a manageable level. So to write it was, I was in the dark. I was just writing my feelings out and my journeys out. And then I couldn't believe it. I got to the end. I said, oh my God, I'm after finishing this. And I had a friend who was an author in New York. She used to work here, Jennifer Sousey. And she went on to write horror and stuff like that, But she's written 10 books. I'd send it to her and I'll see what she says. So I said, how are you, Jen? Haven't spoken in 7 years. 7 years. Right. How are you doing?
The Irish hello, yeah?
Lovely, what a sweetheart. Yeah. And she said, hi, Dave, how are you doing? Because I do see her, she was liking some of the stuff that we've done over with the film and the travels and all that. So you get a thumbs up. Oh, well done, guys. This is great. So I said, look, I've written a book. Oh my God, have you? And so on. And it went from there. So I sent it to her and she gave me a couple of tips. And, she says, Dave, first and foremost, this is very good. I love the honesty about it. She says, the story's good. I like the various parts you put in. So she went, okay, try this, try that, try this. I cleaned it up a little bit. She helped me do that. Send it back to me. Okay. And then I have another friend who's a publisher that I didn't know was a publisher, who just happened to be in. She says, hey, I seen you writing a book. And I said, yeah, I want to help you with that. Okay, right. So I said to her, I've been working with her, Sharon McCowa, ZKR Publishing out of San Diego. And Sharon used to live here. And she was on a visit and, lovely. So I've been talking with her ever since. And she's been helping me along. So she's my publisher stroke manager. So because I'm going after mental health speaking gigs. So I various ones set up for the new year. Because I want to help people with this. And I know how, as I said, how hopeless and helpless you can feel about it. There's a lot of a lot of opinions out there. What I did is tried and tested, and my 6-punch combination of various things you can go about. The reaction has been phenomenal, Alan. I just got off the phone there with my publisher, and I was just saying we were reflecting on last Saturday, and I said it's absolutely phenomenal because people are talking about the honesty of it, how honest you are, how brave you are for bearing your soul like that. Because a lot of people wouldn't be into doing that, because we're all let's stay like strong, and you're showing your vulnerabilities and stuff like that. But I see it as more of a look. I'm going to expose this. I'm going to expose it. Like I'm going to expose the elephant in the room. And I went down that road. I'm really, really happy. It's got some lovely reviews on Amazon and Goodread and these things. And my son, he did the artwork. My son Dean, he's an artist, and it was just a lovely from inception to execution. It was a lovely experience, very therapeutic, because I was able to answer a lot of things for myself going through, and it was I'm beside myself. I'm really, really chuffed with what I've done.
If we can move to the music, obviously that's what started it for you. That's what propelled you. When the Black Donnellys, talk to me a bit about the inception of the Black Donnellys. Is that about the Canadian Black Donnellys or the Hell's Kitchen, New York Black Donnellys? The name and how you and Dave got together.
So the Black Donnellys, hence the name on Facebook, the Black Donnellys Dublin, right? Because there's so many different, not so many. There is, and you touched on the three that are there. So obviously, the story of the Black Donnellys, the Donnelly family and the Farrells family in Lucan, Ontario. They're actually a family. The Donnellys are from Tipperary, and they moved from Ireland to Lucan in Ontario in the mid 1850s, and they were bootleggers, and they were, they were
scallions.
Yeah. And they had another family there, and they were an Irish family as well, the Farrells, and you obviously know the backstory. So that was, and the town turned on them, got sick of them, and there was the biggest mass execution in Canadian history for a spell there. So that was that, and then we had the Hell's Kitchen thing on the TV, obviously, which I used to watch. How I met Dave, I was in Lanzarote. I moved down there in 2003. I used to play Mallorca, Santa Ponza, and then I moved down to Lanzarote. I got a couple of gigs down there, and I was playing with a guy called Steve Carey, good friend of mine still, and we were playing as a duo down there in a place called Cullens. And Dave was on holidays, and he came down, and he walked in, and obviously been interested in music and all that. So I remember him coming in the door, actually, this fella had a tracksuit on, up like this, and he was kind of chewing on his sleeve kind of thing. And he's like, one of them, he was interested in what was going on the stage. Yeah. And then I got down, had a beer, and we started talking, and it worked out that we had a load of mutual acquaintances. And you'd probably notice the music game is so small, Oh, yeah. Your man? Oh, yeah. With that bum, now you hitting that wedding, this kind of it's amazing the things people remember.
You fell on your face, flat drunk. Do you know that time? Oh, yeah, that.
You know what? We're unbelievable. We're a unique people, and I love being Irish, let me tell you. But we're a rough old bunch, So we got talking anyway, and it was 2006 at that stage, and I was thinking, okay, listen, I'm heading back home. He says, hey, listen, I have a couple of gigs for you if you want to come. If you come home, I'm doing a load of gigs in Temple Bar area, and then I'm managing this young kid called George Murphy, and I'm looking for someone to write songs for him, So okay, I said, yeah, so I was interested. So I sent them on This Is My Home and various other songs that I had for George to sing. And he says, right, okay, well, the first gig is the Point Depot. We're opening for Madness, right?
The first gig?
The first gig was the Point Depot. We're opening for Madness. This is a bit of all right, And we went, and that was unbelievable. So that's where it started. And we played some really big gigs, and then we settled into the Temple Bar regime, we call that. Yeah. And 17 shows a week, 6 days a week, And it was great. It's gone like that, because obviously when you're doing the nightly thing, I'm 10 years now in Las Vegas as well. It's kind of like zip, 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 But that's where we went, and then we started writing songs, and then we started. The Black Donnellys was formed, and how that was formed was his brother was walking down through town, maybe Georgia Street, and there was a kid there, and he was selling little books and all that. And Steve said, "Oh, you know what? I'll just buy a book off him." Threw him a fiver, and he got the book. And I said, "The Black Donnelly." He says, "That's a great name for a band,"
Yeah.
And he read the story, so it does relate to the Donnellys out of Ontario. And then we travelled around with George. Then obviously Dave Brown was managing George. Then he'd done tour manager with him previously, and now George was with us. So we set up this kind of a band, and we had a 6-7 piece band called the Black Donnellys, and then we did that for a few years, and then we decided to bring it down to a 2-piece then and head away, because obviously it's easier to move a duo around than it is a 7-piece band, as you can understand. So that's where it happened. That's what it was,
Dave, the other Dave in the band, Dave, was that pre or post his record in Temple Bar for the longest guitar solo? Was that when did that come about?
It came about in 2011, where he played for 114 hours. He did it in June 2011. It's mad. So he did that in 2011. Obviously, he got a flavour for wanting to do world records and now when he comes to me with them, I go away, just go away from me. So, and he knows he'd see this as well. But no, not doing it. Go away from me, So, But it's just, so I think it was we were on the stage one night. This is around 2014, I think. To 14, and he got talking to this man and woman, and they said, my son he's traveling around, he's doing all the 50 states. And Dave goes, is that a thing? Like, is that a thing people do to people? Oh, he says, oh yeah, it is. It's a bucket list thing, So he gets off the stage, he runs inside, he gets on the computer, and he's Googling it, and it turns out that George Thorogood, the blues guitarist, he did 50 gigs in 50 states in 50 days. So that's what gave him the impetus to kind of go, okay, I'm going to beat that 60, 50, 40. Right.
He's a competitive old soul, isn't he? Jesus.
No, just mad. Yeah. So, in fairness, the want to do it and the fearlessness of it as well. And we're kind of robust in that respect, because we're kind of high energy, and even when we play, you can see that, you can feel it, So I've always been a very driven kind of person as well. So I suppose it was a good kind of, we had the integral parts to accomplish it. But we had to go about it. And we set it all up. We had a lot of people helping us and stuff like that. And it was done in a kind of a tag team kind of a scenario. And we flew in various artists. Liam Riley of Bagatelle, he came in to do it. George came over. Various other artists and stuff like that, American and Irish, and they came over. It was incredible. I sang for about 90, 100 hours. I can't remember exactly what. I got very ill after it. I remember that I was in a bad way. The anxiety was really bad for me at that stage. I remember now, because I was so ill going home, and I could barely drive and stuff like that. So that was the world record, and we did it, and we got it, and it's still there now. I hear someone's maybe beating it or something, but I'm not sure. I don't know how true or not true that is.
And the documentary that followed and ensued. I'm in Canada now 7 years, and I saw this documentary 4 years ago, and I have to say it was a great connector for me to feel like, as an immigrant now here in Canada, it was heartwarming. It was great to see you guys do what you were doing.
Definitely a musician's thing. There is a certain chemistry that goes along there. And we get on, obviously. I mean, you can't be playing 6 nights a week for 18 years and not get on. And of course, you have your moments where you're kind of going, oh, Jesus, I'm tired of this. I'm going through one at the moment.
So a little break.
It's all about mixing it up, So I think to go into the book and stuff like that. I suppose you're probably going to ask me, how do we even get into getting a film or making the film?
Yeah, how did it come about? How did that kick off?
We had this management company who we were in touch with, and who were going to help us.
All right, yeah.
Help us, the sarcasm in there.
For the radio folks, he's doing his air quotes. I have to tell you that.
They looked after a lot of the A, B list kind of acts here in Las Vegas. Right. And they were representing us. So they said, we can help you do this, and we can help you. We think it's a great idea, and so on. We can help you execute the tour. And we were all going, oh, fantastic. He says, by the way, I've got a guy who's a filmmaker. He's here, and maybe we should do a documentary about it, And I went, oh, yeah. He said, but you have to go and meet him. So I said, yeah, sure. So I went to meet Carl Nicoli. He's from Colorado. His brother's here Scott Nickley. He's a great producer. I'm doing an album with him at the moment. He's brilliant. He's really, really great. But so I went to meet him. I brought all the music and so on. So we had these aspirations of okay, we'll use this song and that song and all the rest of it, only to find out that when you go and you have to use cover songs for television, you have to pay exorbitant stuff. So it was great that I had a lot of the original music. So I gave him all of that. I gave him 3 albums. So we 38 songs there, and then we a lot of filler in stuff. We did kind of bluegrassy between the guitar and the mandolin, a little bit of whistle here and there. And so that actually worked well. We got on very well. Got on like a house on fire, and we went and we got investment then from Folktail Winery out of California. We used to play up there. We sell out there 250 tickets every time we played. And the owner, we got on with like a house on fire, Greg Ann, lovely Korean American chap, and a real great friend. We were just out with him there. Actually, it actually made money. It made $4,000 or something like that, and we went out and had a steak on it, So, but that's how it all came about. And we planned it. We set it up. We got the investment that started. Everything was great for the first 2 weeks, and then we ran out of money, and then that's when the drama kicked in, and the rest is history. I wrote the song "This Is My Home," and I wrote it from the perspective of being away from home. I was living in Denmark at the time, Copenhagen. I was there for 5 years, and I lived in the city. And on top, I lived in this 5-story building. I lived on the top floor. And one day I'd only start playing guitar when I was about 23, 24 in these sessions in the Shamrock, where I used to work as a bartender. And I got involved in the sessions. I started playing. I had this old Hondo guitar. They used to call me Catch Your Hands.
That caught me off guard.
Catch Your Hands anyway. So I got into it. No, I could always sing. I've been singing since I've been a young fella of 10. I was a big Beatles fan, And I got over there, I started getting into it, and I started playing. And then as soon as I could play the guitar, I started writing. So "This Is My Home" was the first song I wrote, right? And I wrote it and I was so homesick, because when you go away, and you know this yourself, but I don't know if you've been to any of the countries or living there where you're steeped in another language and another culture. Canada and America are a little bit more cohesive to us, because we all our forefathers and our ancestors and so on came here before us, so they've kind of laid the way. When you go to the likes of like Germany, which I lived in Munich and I lived in Denmark and stuff like that, the language it's a different thing, and it's a challenge, and it adds to that sense of dislocation, and obviously then it paves the way for you to feel. You tap into the emotionality of that, and then therefore you can write the songs about it, because you're talking about how you feel, which goes back to what I said originally. So I wrote the song anyway, but what I'm talking about the song as part of the movie, we talk about it. I talk about the song. I said, look, when you go away, it's great that you go away, but you stay away too long, then you never ever feel fully at home when you're away, because you're away, right? And then then you go back home, but you've been away so long that when you go back home, life moves on without you. You don't actually feel at home because things have moved on. So as a result, you're left swinging in limbo, And it's people, they attest to that every time I say it, They kind of go like, yeah, geez, I know. But the beauty about it is, when you're talking about that, even here in America, when people move from state to state, they feel them same feelings, So it's actually a very relatable, and it's not just an Irish thing. It's not just an American thing or a Canadian thing. It's a global thing. Yeah. So therefore, you're writing about something that people are going to relate to straight away. So we came through with the visa process, and then we went we got the green cards. I just applied for my citizenship last week. So that should come around now, around June or so. And that should be okay. Right. You know what? I feel like that. Like America has afforded me and my family a better way to live and more opportunities. There's no way I would have been able to do the things that I've done and accomplished here or at home as opposed to here. So, yeah, but do I miss the place? Absolutely. I miss the sense of humor. I miss the food. I lost my mother there a couple of years ago during COVID, so I couldn't go back for the funeral, which was tough. I miss it. I miss the sense of humor. I'm very proud to be Irish, and I love the whole, like, I mean, we 3 girls here from Tala last night, they were fun. And it's a it's a real ticket. It's a real novelty when they come in. Now we get lots of Irish over, you know, but you get them genuine characters, you know.
Yeah.
And we're very unique, and I much appreciate my Irishness now than I ever did before, you know, because we are very unique and we're very funny. We're very funny race, you know.
Where can people find the book? Where can people see it?
The book is on Amazon. Journey Through Anxiety. I'm just reading off the cover. A Troubadour's Tale. You can go to my websites. There's going to be a lot of stuff on there promoting mental health. DaveRooneySpeaker.com and InnerCalmity.com. And there too, and there'll be webinars, there will be roadmaps to mindfulness and self-care. Go and buy the book. Anyone that's struggling with anxiety, check out what I did. I did it without medication, and it's certainly something that you should try because it's good for you. Speak up. Don't be afraid. You don't have to be stoic. Remember, vulnerability is a form of courage. Talk to people. Get yourself out and talk to people and look after yourself. I play in the Mandalay Bay 6 nights a week from Tuesday right through till Sunday. We kick off at 8 o'clock and we go all the way to 12. It's a great gig. It's full of fun. We're very engaging with the crowd. You'll have fun there. It's great food. There's great whiskey selections and all that stuff. So good place to go. Re-Ra in the Mandalay Bay. Drop in, say hello, and send us up a few requests, and we'll have a beer with you.
Brilliant. That sounds fantastic. Well, I think the best place, given the conversation we've had, we're going to end with This Is My Home. Dave, you're a legend. Thank you so much for your time. Much appreciated. Thanks for joining us here. And 2 Irish don't make a right.